How are you all today? We are going to start a new chapter, Packing, written by Jerome. The narrator of the story, Jerome, was proud of his packing skills. He was supposed to go on a trip with his friend George and Harris. He told them to leave the whole matter of packing to himself, to which they readily agreed. George sat on the set easy chair and Harris cocked his legs on the table and watched Jerome do the packing. But this wasn't what Jerome wanted. When he said that, he wanted to do all the packing himself. What he meant what was that he was willing to be in charge of everything and direct his friend to work efficiently under his supervision. He was really pissed at them for just sitting about watching him work. It was uncomfortable for Jerome to just sit idle and see another person work alone. His energetic nature made him want to get up and superintendent. When Jerome packed the bag, Harris pointed out that Jerome had forgotten to pack the boots, so he had to open the bag again and pack his boots in, and just he was going to close, he doubted if he had packed his toothbrush. Whenever he would be able to travel, he would get nightmares of forgetting to pack his toothbrush. Then he would wake up and go on to hunt for it. Then in the morning he would pack it before he used it, and then he had to unpack again to get it and would repack. Forgetting to put the toothbrush in again, then he had to crush upstairs to fetch it. He always ends up carrying the toothbrush wrapped in his pocket handkerchief. As usual, Jerome had to search the whole bag. He found George and Harry's toothbrush 18 times over but couldn't find his own toothbrush. At last, he found it inside a boot and he had to repack once more. After he was done, George asked him if the soap was in, but Jerome was so exhausted that he just didn't seem to care. But after he strapped the bed again, he noticed that he had packed his spectacles inside and he had to open the bag again. Finally, he finished packing at 10:05 p.m. and now George and Harry decided to pack the food hampers. George and Harry started by showing that they were better than Jerome at packing. Jerome was excited to see how they would proceed. As he anticipated, they started with breaking a cup. The Harris accidentally squished a tomato by placing strawberry jam on top of it, and then he had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. Moreover, George stepped on the butter. Now it was Jerome's turn to sit back and watch them, which irritated them. They stepped on things, put things behind them, and then they were unable to find them. When they needed them, they put the pie at the bottom and put heavy things on top of it, which ended up ruining the pies. They poured salt all over the place and did wonders with butter. George got the butter stuck to the slippers. After he got it off his slippers, they attempted to put in the kettle, but it wouldn't go in. Then they put it down on the chair. Harry sat on it and it better stuck to his back. Then they went around looking for it. After a long of searching, George discovered that it was at the back of Harry's in the whole time, and finally they packed it in the tea spot. And then their pet dog come into the scene only to add to commotion. Montmorency was a naughty dog whose aim in life was to create hurdles and get scolded. It was only when he was screamed at that he felt that his day had not been wasted. So, just when things were ready to be packed, he came into the room and sat on them. Whenever Harris or George extended their hand for anything, Montmorency made it a point that they reach for his nose. He put his leg into the jam, disorganized the teaspoons, and hampered the lemons. After uncountable obstacles and tremendous efforts, finally the packing was done at 12:50, and Harry sat on the hamper hoping that nothing was broken. George consoled himself and Harry's by saying that if anything was found broken, then it would be because it was already broken. They all were ready for bed and decided to wake up at 6:30. George was already asleep by the so George and Jerome placed the bath where he could tumble into on getting up in the morning and went to bed themselves. So thank you students. This was a short summary of this story. Please read the chapter carefully. Have a nice day.